Hi, Moshe, Yuda. Welcome to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having you today. How are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks for coming. So let's start talk about Healables and why you decided to go through this venture.
That's a great question. So, about 15 years ago, I suffered a traumatic brain injury. And thank God I made a complete recovery with the help of traditional and mind body medicine. And I learned a lot of things on my journey. My background was in technology, UI, UX, marketing, and I learned a lot about health and recovery. What happens when the medical systems that we rely on aren't able to fully meet our needs. And that took me through a whole journey of recovery that took a number of years. And that was the motivation for starting Healables, where I take the knowledge that I learned on my own journey of recovery and health, and I've integrated that into a product that I can now scale and bring to other people. And one of the main things that I learned was that you have to heal the mind and the body together. And that's what we do at Healables. We have an electroceutical device that heals the body, and we have a digital health coach that heals the mind. And together, we empower the whole person to really have a new lease on life and reach their potential and move ahead. So we're excited to have Healables and excited to introduce it to the world, and welcome people to join us in this journey to empower others to take that next step.
Thank you. Can we talk a little bit more in details? Just a short presentation of what Healables is exactly.
Sure. So we're Healables, wearables that heal. I'm Moshe Lebowitz, CEO and founder, and we're with Yehuda Barbash, our COO, CFO. So our mission is to relieve pain, accelerate healing, and reduce inflammation without drugs. Okay, we treat with clothing instead of medication. And to build this fantastic product, we really put together an amazing team. Our chief medical officer comes from Harvard, our CTO comes from Johns Hopkins, and Yehuda is an absolute wizard at finance, operations. It's just a pleasure working with our team. So knee osteoarthritis is an example of an inflammatory illness, and it's a huge problem for 500 million people all over the world. In the UK, for example, it costs over $100 billion. And we have a solution that doesn't require medication, doesn't require surgery, that allows people to go and get back to their regular routine. And our solution is an electroceutical device that docks with smart textiles. And embedded in the smart textiles are permanent electrodes and sensors that provide real-time physiological feedback. And then together with our behavioral health coach that coaches the mind, we have a three-dimensional profile of the person, and we're able to empower the patients with customized precision treatment that delivers exactly what they need. Then finally, we have for the practitioners, we have a remote practitioner portal that allows them not just to monitor remotely, but to actually in real time adjust treatment. So that means if a person's a body worker, if they're a physical therapist, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, with our technology, with our device, they can be in one city, their patient can be in a different city. They don't have to come into the clinic, and they can have a live hands-on session with our remote technology. So our knee sleeve is our first product, but then we can expand with other textiles to other parts of the body and other conditions. And also really two verticals. We have our wellness vertical that focuses on readiness, recovery, performance, and then we have the medical that treats medical conditions. So that's really the idea behind it, as I mentioned in the introduction, is we treat the mind and the body together. And this is coming out of two technologies, one used in the Cleveland Clinic, microcurrent therapy, and mind-body medicine that's coming out of Stanford Healthcare, two of really excellent medical centers in the United States that have worldwide success. So these solutions that they use are validated, but they require highly trained individuals. And not everybody has access. They're just not affordable, not accessible, and not scalable as a clinic-based solution. So we've converted these legacy technologies and solutions into a product-based solution. So our wearable electroceutical treats the body, and our digital health coach treats the mind. And then you have an affordable, accessible, scalable solution that anybody can use wherever they are. So just a little bit about the science behind this. Again, we're treating on two fronts, on the cellular level and on that whole person behavioral health level. So on the cellular level, our electroceutical therapy is able to enhance the function of the mitochondria. And on the behavioral health level, one of the things that we're doing is we're able to calm the whole system and to improve the immune response by helping to regulate the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system with breathing techniques and other techniques that we have built into our app. In user testing, we see 83% of users have reported pain relief of at least 50% and improvement in range of motion. And we have a whole portfolio of patents that are granted and that are pending through worldwide. Finally, we have the backend architecture that allows integration with health systems throughout the world as well. So our platform technology is not just for osteoarthritis, but it can treat a whole range of issues. And as we do clinical trials and pilot studies, we're able to go and demonstrate that we can go and lower healthcare costs and improve response in many different indications. So, and that's really what we're doing now. We have an ongoing clinical trial with the head of sports medicine at the Wolfson Medical Center in Greater Tel Aviv on knee osteoarthritis. The PI there is also the head orthopedic surgeon for the Israel Defense Forces and is an expert in sports medicine, athletes, and in soldiers. We have a protocol written for diabetic neuropathy, and we have another clinical trial in lower back pain that we are putting forward as well in India. And in sports, we are excited to be piloting with the Stade Francais Paris rugby team, and they're using our solution for lower limb issues and all sorts of issues that are sustained during rugby, and we're excited about that pilot as well. So in terms of marketing, we really have those two different verticals. We have the medical vertical that focuses on licensing and partnering with pharmaceuticals and biotech, medtech companies. We have that common inflammatory component, so we can address musculoskeletal, respiratory, diabetic neuropathy, chronic pain. Each one of these is really $1 billion vector, a vertical in and of itself, and with the right partners, we can expand into these areas. And long COVID. Long COVID is really an inflammatory disease that everybody, many people that I know here and around the world are getting these strange symptoms. So that inflammatory symptoms, we can address that without steroids. So our first revenues are coming in with licensing agreements with SRS Life Sciences for lower back pain in India. And then with the wellness and sports, again, starting with Stade Francais, we plan to expand into the EU, the UK, and the United States as well. So there is competition out there, but the competition looks like this. It's just old-fashioned with lots of wires. It's clunky. It's just not smart, not easy to use. And in the medical side, Merck has invested also in an electroceutical device for chronic inflammatory disease as an invasive implantable device where they're doing a surgery to put a chip in a person's head in order to go and reduce inflammation. We can do similar type of vagal stimulation with our wearable without surgery, without turning people into cyborgs. So what would you rather be, a cyborg or wear some cool athletic wear and accomplish the same goal? So there are other devices that are out there, but they're not as smart, they're not wearable, and they're just not able to produce the same results that we do. So our revenue model, and this is really exciting for a product, for an electroceutical device is actually a software model primarily. It's a 2/3 SaaS model, 1/3 device model, where we have a B2B SaaS for physical therapists to be able to treat their patients, and a B2C SaaS for consumers to directly use the app and use the device. And then we have also a model for distribution for licensing as well. So we see that in the beginning, most of the money comes from the device, but as the SaaS brings that recurring revenue, that begins to take over as we get traction in the market. So in terms of financial projections, we're currently doing a $3 million raise, and we'll be cash flow positive in year 3 from wellness sports revenue alone, not including medical revenue and not including medical licensing that is also in process. So 3 quick reasons to invest in Healables. At this stage, you can still target a 40x return. Healables is a company that's an ESG company, an impact company, where you can change people's lives, change the lives of your loved ones, your friends, and make an impact in the world, taking people from dysfunction to function. And thirdly, validated technology. Our main innovation is in artificial intelligence, is in wearability, is in textiles, but the technology, the legacy technology that we have based our innovation on is fully validated. So here you're investing in something that already works, and now we've taken it, we've improved it so it can scale and be really, really awesome. So as Michael Jordan said, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen. At Healables, we make it happen, and we're looking for other people who want to join us making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moshe. Let me ask you, let me start with a few questions. The first one is regarding the use of the wearable and the data that has been collected. How exactly, not only, I don't know, doctors, physiotherapists, who they are, but also individuals, how they can exactly use it, and how do they monitor the improvements and the healing?
That's a great question. The main point about data is actionable data. If we just get reams and reams and reams of raw information, or if we get information overload or too much data or data that's just not useful, it doesn't help anybody. So the key is what we focus on is keeping the data on our back end and presenting the end user with actionable, inspirational, motivational techniques and actions that they're able to go and take. So in our situation, it's not really about presenting the end user with lots of data. It's about motivating. What I feel people really need is not information, but it's motivation. And I think that what is really the key is the algorithms that turn that data from numbers into actionable motivational messages.
And that data can be used also behind the scenes with the AI reading the information on that individual and the feedback from the sensors in order to automatically improve the treatment they are getting and make it more appropriate to them so that they can have a better treatment and a better result.
I'm curious because I mean, how you say in Italy, but not only in Italy, mente sana in corpore sano, right? You need to have a very good mind to have a very strong body and healthy body. How do you exactly, with your wearables and device, how do you match working with mind and body together in a very effective way? Because that's the point. Many tried, but I've been seeing so much about, trying to use your brain. You can actually heal all your body just training your brain, but it's pretty complicated. So how do you do it?
So that's exactly right, and I think that we see, especially with athletes in this past year, the importance of mental health, and in the Olympics, in athletes in general. The difference between being in the Olympics, participating, getting that gold medal, is the ability. It's really at a certain level becomes a mental sport whatever you're doing, more than just a physical sport. And that's not just for athletes. All of us, when we're facing challenges, running a startup, you have ups, you have downs. I mean, you have to be able to be emotionally stable, to be able to be motivated and to keep on going with all the challenges and overcome those challenges. So we're faced with really the need for our product every single day. So I think that there's really two aspects to what make us, what we're doing is unique, and why this has been challenging in the past. First of all, when people are really overloaded physically, it's very hard for them to concentrate. So a lot of times if a person has to go to a psychologist, they'll say, oh, well, let's see a psychiatrist also, and we'll give you some pills, and that'll kind of calm things down, and then you can go and do some therapy, and you'll be able to be freed up to do some therapy because you have the pills. And that technique kind of works to some extent short term. The question is, what are those pills doing for you long term? So to that extent, our electroceutical can help calm people down. It can help live with anxiety. It can help just to reset the system physically, physiologically, so the minds can breathe and you can actually think a little bit. And I think that's, if you go straight into techniques and trying to focus on the mind without first calming the body, or if you're in tremendous amount of pain, you don't have the energy to be able to go and do that type of mental work that you need to do. So that's why treating the body is really important, but it's not enough. If you want that to be sustainable, if you want to see those, if you don't want to just to say, okay, we treated and now we have to come back and treat again and treat again. If you want the changes to be cumulative and sustainable, right? Sustainability is the buzzword. What about sustainability in the human body? You have to have the mental component that brings in that motivation and healing the mind. So that's really one aspect to what we're doing. And the second aspect is the digital health coach is designed with, when you have the wearable elements that you're wearing and you have physiological data, then you're able to be in touch with the person in advance. So you don't have to go home and yell at your family because you had a bad day. The sensors will already tell you in advance that you're starting to get agitated, and you can take a break before you go home and just take a drink of water, or you just do something to reset yourself before you go home. I mean, simple techniques change lives, because if you go home and yell at your family every day, that's one type of life. But if you can reset in 1 minute or 2 minutes because you have a reminder just to reset that physiologically you're agitated, you have a whole different life. And I think that that's what the way to use wearables, to make them motivational, to make them inspirational, and to change in real time.
I mean, for what is my understanding, the device helps to heal the pain, and the coaching should teach you how to actually cure the pain inside your brain, for the long time, for the long run, and not only for the day or temporary. How exactly the coaching change based on data?
So everybody's different. Everybody has a different pace. And what's exciting about our device is that it's relevant to elderly people that have physical issues, or osteoarthritis, or disabled people that are having, or depressed people that are trying to get out of bed to go shopping, or Olympic athletes that want to go for the gold. It's able to personalize the treatment to whatever level you're at. So if that's breathing, if that's exercise techniques, we're able to sense what is a person able to do and challenge them to reach that next level, wherever that is. So for some people, running an Olympic marathon is an Olympic marathon. For some people, running an Olympic marathon is the equivalent of walking 100 meters or walking 20 meters. And the key is to challenge people with a realistic goal where they can feel accomplishments, where they're able to improve.
Well, can I go a bit further? May I use your device or not only for healing, but actually for improving my performance?
I think that's exactly the point. Some people ask, oh, well, if I sprain my ankle, how long do I need to use the device for? After 6 weeks, is that, do you still need it? And the answer is yes. This is a companion for life. because the goal of life is not to relieve pain. The goal of life is to accomplish our purpose, to go and make the world a better place, to bring light to those around us, and to, show that the potential that we all have. So it's exactly right. It's about performance. So in the beginning, when you're disabled, when you're stuck, when you need that extra boost, you have to get unstuck and you have to heal. But then the treatment shifts from more of a physical healing to more of a mental performance, where it's able to help you to improve and to reach your peak and your optimal performance by improving and by being better and more positive and helping to do more for those around you.
Can we talk about the IP? We have been covering during the pitch. Now, is the IP fully in your mind, or are you collecting more from that side?
So their IP, we have proprietary know-how. We have patents that are written and that are granted, and we have lots of more patents that, with funding, we'll put some more patents in as well. Patents get expensive as they start going down the line, especially globally. So we have a granted patent on our digital health coach, and we have granted patents on our electronics, and then we have some additional patent ideas that I'm not going to share here.
Can we talk a bit more about the market? I suppose, as you said, you mentioned already, the sport is a big, of course, is injury. The sport injury is a big market for you. So can we go a little bit more not in details, but talk a bit more about your market, how you reach your users, and because we talk about SaaS as well here.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, okay, so look, as Moshe mentioned in the presentation, we've been very pleased to start with our first pilots with Stade Francais rugby team, who are using our device. So so this is a great first pilot for us, and we're really looking to firstly look for other pilots and other practitioners who deal with sportsmen and other wellness areas. There's nothing like recommendation from a professional, whether it be a sports personality or a physiotherapist. Because we have the two different aspects. We have the aspect where the practitioner can use the device when somebody comes to their clinic, but we also have the continuation, as we were speaking about before, the fact that somebody can use this on a long term and maintain their level, not just of fitness and comfort. Then this device can be taken home, and then that opens up to the B2C market, going from the B2B of the sports teams and the physiotherapists to the B2C of the sport professionals. We have connections with various different representatives throughout Europe, mainly, who have connections with different sports teams. And once we have reached certain targets relating to our current sports pilot, then they're more than happy to reach out to these different teams. We have other teams waiting in the wings. So we're expecting that to grow from there. We have worked out very different business models on how we can attract the B2B and the B2C with the sports personalities and the practitioners' clients. And also eventually that will lead on to more just a straight B2C as opposed to B2B2C.
What about the business model? We are just talking now. Are you selling the wearable device, or for the SaaS model, probably no? How does it work exactly? Changing between B and C, of course.
Okay, well, so look, it's both of them together, really, because when we created a basic app so that somebody can download the app and they can use it for their general wellness. But obviously that once you have a device that you can connect to that and you get the treatment that you need from the device through the app, then it increases the value of the app and the device separately. So there is also, we are going to increase our SaaS revenues by with the AI kicking in and making the protocols and the treatment more personal and increasing the functionality with the app and device together. We've also looked at business models of creating different groups, whether it's a family group that maybe have a device and different people within the family group as a group of users are able to use the device for different issues they have, and also trying to get well physically and mentally as a group, or other groups, maybe a sports team or some kind of club. There are a lot of the Americans call it weekend warriors. In England we call it
Americans want to fight.
Yeah, we call it Sunday. In England we probably normally say Sunday football players, or five-a-side football players, that would be happy to have something that every knock they get from one Sunday to the next, that they're able to treat that at home without having to go. Not everybody has time during their working week to go to see somebody. When it's a little knock, if you have something serious, then you go and get it treated. But this is something that can keep people fit so they can play every Sunday. So we have set out our pricing and we've set out our different models to do with regarding the SaaS and the device for all these different categories.
And there's an interrelationship between them as well, because a physiotherapist will treat somebody, and then the users eventually will become B2C users. So it's not just, are you a B2C company or are you a B2B company? There's a market that has an interrelationship between these different models, and we've adjusted the models for the UK, for Europe, for the United States, and for India, where India is a whole different set of socio-economic and regulatory rules. And what's really cool is that because our technology has that software component, we're really able to go and adjust the model to fit the geography that we're launching in.
You are raising 3 million, and I suppose market is going to be part of it. Where is the first market you are going seriously into, and after moving from there to the others?
So the first market that we're focusing on is sports and wellness. And the reason for that is that we don't have to wait for regulatory clearance to take this product to market. When we market as a wellness product, that as a performance product, readiness, recovery, get back in the game, we can take that straight to the market in the UK, in Europe, and in the United States through the relationships that we have. In parallel, we're doing licensing agreements with pharmaceutical companies that are moving the medical side of the product ahead. That has that longer time to market because you go through regulatory clearance, but it has that bigger upside because you have the regulatory clearance ends up becoming a barrier to entry for competitors as well.
I mean, no, that's pretty clear. What about, I mean, you're moving from US and after UK and Europe as a whole, and from talking about sport and moving to more different problems, always related to health. Now, we always talk about success, right? Because that's pretty normal. That's what we want to do. We start a startup, we want to succeed, we want to be successful. Now, my question is actually the opposite. What do you fear the most? Because, for example, myself, anytime I do a new business or I run my business at night, what I'm thinking is actually what can go wrong. I need to understand what everything is fine. But when everything is perfectly fine, I need to understand what is going to be wrong, right? Because I need to find a solution immediately. Actually, I need to find a solution today for something that can happen tomorrow. What do you fear the most that can make your business failing and not succeeding?
That's a great question.
I don't think we really have much time to think about
Theoretical
things that are going to go wrong in the future. It's more about dealing with the troubles that are current. Because
but my question is this one. You said before there are quite few competitors that are doing something similar, right? So where is your breaking point? Where actually you can succeed where the others they actually didn't?
I think what I fear the most is takeoff. If you think about, let's say, a fighter jet on the runway, once that fighter jet is in the sky, it has missiles, it can maneuver, it's off. What I fear the most is the challenge of getting our business off the ground, because there's a complexity of integration between textiles, between electronics, and with artificial intelligence and software. We're technologically in 3 areas at the same time, and there's a complexity of business model. So it's actually a little bit of it's a fantastic idea when it comes down to the user level, but sometimes investors, they don't have the patience or the mandate to go beyond a very narrow sector. And it's a very special type of investor that's able to say, I want to be disruptive. I'm going to think very big picture. Okay, a tractor trailer takes a little bit longer to get moving. A train, anything that has mass, but once it's moving, it's very, very powerful. So I think that we need what I fear is not being able to communicate the message to investors that we have this awesome solution. We're constantly contacted to our website from all over the world. Can I buy your product? Can I buy your product? Can I launch here? We weren't thinking of launching globally at the same time. Corona did that. We wanted to launch in the United States. And then all of a sudden we get contacted from India and contacted from France. And we don't want to say no. The Corona shrunk the whole world to Zoom and empowered people to launch according to relationships instead of launching according to geographies. So what I fear is not having that investor team that I can dialogue with to be able to go and get this up and running.
But also, it's very good. But also, the fact that we understand that each of these different complicated parts create a whole that is special and that is going to have an effect on so many people in the world, a positive effect. The fear that we won't get the opportunity to do that and help those people, because if somebody else, like you mentioned, competition, if somebody else takes one part of it, maybe the way that we've put together the textile, for example, or and doesn't go for the whole package because of the challenge of it, then the people at home that really need this won't get it. Won't get the whole package.
Look, I believe we have a solution for long COVID. Okay, people are suffering all over the world with long COVID. It'll take time to do clinical trials and to demonstrate that, and okay, it'll take a number of years, but hopefully everything will be resolved by then. But if it's not, we have a solution. And I want to demonstrate that. There are millions of people around the world that are in pain and suffering, and I want to help them.
Let me ask you, and we can close with this one. What's your vision for your venture, for Healables, and also why investors should invest in yourself before, because you are running the business, and in your venture?
Investors should invest in Healables first and foremost because of our team. Yehuda is absolutely brilliant at business models, at the projections, at management, operations. Working with him is an absolute pleasure. And it wouldn't be worthwhile all the hours that we do and all the efforts we put in if we didn't have your vision. And, we would not have started without you. I was working in banks previously. And, I had a very quiet 9 to 5, earning money, making money for other people as well. And, I could have stayed doing that, but I decided to go for something that gave me a bit more out of life. Made me a lot more tired, but it made it easier to get up.
Yeah.
Because it has a purpose. We all have a purpose. And Moshe's vision and the idea of how we can help so many people helped give me the purpose. So an investor that wants to connect with that purpose of helping people, this is a company that's not just going to make them money, but it's going to give them meaning. And they will be able to go to sleep at night saying, wow, 1 million people, 2 million people, I was able to help them. So that's a reason to invest in Healables.
What's the vision? And we close here.
The vision is helping every single person on this planet reach their potential, to be able to express themselves, to connect their mind and their body, to be themselves, and to add their own special individuality and light to the world that they have. And we want to be a part of helping people to really be themselves and bring out their best and make the world a better place.
Moshe, Hilda, thank you so much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure. I wish you all the best in taking off and bringing your business to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.